Namo Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai. Okay, so last week we were at on 926, but that's where we finished the discussion. Right? So we are in the section that is 926 to 934. The theme of the section is that bhakti is the topmost of all the forms of worship. Right? This Patram Pushpam Phalam, this verse that we are looking at, this talks of the simplicity of bhakti. Right? Anywhere, anyhow, anyone, anywhere can practice bhakti yoga. Right? So we did this. Let's just quickly go through it. So he's saying Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. So Patram is a leaf, Pushpam is a flower, Phalam is a fruit, water is Toyam is water. So, and the interesting part is that Krishna is not saying lot of that. Patram, just one leaf. Right? It's not Patrani. Patrani means multiple leaves. Phalam, one fruit, not Phalani, multiple fruits. So Krishna is saying, just give me one fruit, one flower, one leaf, little bit of water, and that will make him happy. But the two important words that we discussed were Bhakti Uparatam and Prayat Atmanah. So Bhakti Uparatam means offered in devotion. Prayat Atma means from one in pure consciousness. Right? So Krishna is saying, I need devotion and love. He's hungry for devotion. Right? So he's repeating himself, Bhakti Uparatam and Prayat Atmanah. Right? Mood behind the offering is important. I mean, I think I gave the example of Duryodhan, that how when Krishna went as a messenger, Krishna refused the food of Duryodhan. Duryodhan had prepared a full chappan bhog for Krishna. But then where did he go? He went to Vidura's house. And what did Vidura's wife feed him? Banana peels. And Krishna was eating that happily because there was love and devotion in it. Right? Whereas there was no love and devotion in Duryodhan's 56 meals. And there's not much qualification required for Krishna consciousness. That's the essence of this verse. Prabhupada, when he used to give classes in the 22nd 6th Avenue, the Matchless Gift store, where he used to give classes there. Prabhupada in the Lilamrita is given that there was once a drunkard, and the drunkard just walked in. There was a class going, and you could just look at a drunkard, shabbily dressed. He just walks into the room, goes to the toilet, and he puts a toilet roll there. So Prabhupada said, now see, everybody is interested in service. Everybody wants to do service. All the other processes, demigod worship, yoga, hatha yoga, jnana yoga, all that is elaborate and complex. But Krishna worship is simple, right? This is the essence of this verse, and I think I mentioned the story of Raghunandan Thakur, how when he would offer with love and he would force Krishna, Gopal, eat, and then Krishna would eat the laddu. So yeah, so that's about offering, right? But sometimes people can doubt, many people have, not many, but a few have asked me a question about how does it become prasad, right? So people are, they're looking for scientific explanations. What is the benefit of eating prasadam? But what people forget is that science and spirituality are not against each other, right? Science offers material explanations for material phenomena, right? So if somebody asks that, did Arjun win the war by the message of Bhagavad Gita or by the skills of his archery? It was both, right? Knowledge of archery helped him fight, and Bhagavad Gita gave direction to him. So science explains how, spirituality answers why. So prasad, when we cook food, right, it's a material level. When before you offer it, it's a bhoga. So at a material level, it's cooked hygienically, right, in the mode of goodness. We all try to cook prasadam in a food in a mode of goodness. So it automatically is healthy, right? You're not including things like, which Krishna is not mentioning here, meat, eggs, or any of that sort, right? So from a scientific perspective, also prasadam is hygienic and in a mode of goodness. But we as devotees, we look at the transcendental part of it. So the mercy of Krishna is coming through it, right? Some people say, oh, it's blind faith that you're offering food. No, it's not blind faith. Through food, we are offering our devotion to Krishna, right? You all must have had this experience, that sometimes we go to meet, especially in India, when I was young, whenever we used to go to meet any devotees, we would take a box of sweets, right? And then when we were leaving, sometimes, my mother would pack it in a metal box or something, a steel box. And then when we were leaving, we would get the same box back, but there were some other sweets packed in it, right? So for the third person, the box is same, right? But it is not the box that is important. It's the content of the box that is important, not just, so it's the reciprocation that is significant, right? So when we offer food in Krishna, similarly, food to Krishna, we are offering in devotion. So Krishna takes the devotion and he returns mercy. And that mercy changes our heart. In India, there are devotees who are feeding prasadam in prisons and schools. Right? There was a case I once heard about in Mumbai that uh, devotees were feeding prasadam to prisoners. Right? So a criminal, he was released, and then he committed a crime and he came back again to the jail. He said that he didn't get good food outside. In the jail, he gets Hare Krishna food, right? And there are some very scientifically proven facts that in schools also it has been observed that when underprivileged children, when they ate prasadam, they grew calm and they were more organized, right? And elite schools have approached ISKCON to buy prasadam so that their children can behave gently and in an organized way. So prasadam is scientific also, but then we as devotees look at more from a transcendental part to it, right? So so broadly, bhakti is all about managing our emotions more than anything else. We already have emotions for Krishna, we just have to manage them. They're just pointed in the wrong direction. If we manage them properly, channel our emotions towards Krishna, he will respond. Right? That's what he keeps saying in Bhagavad Gita. I'm here, find me here, find me this way, find me that way. So this is a very important verse, and Prabhupada used to quote it quite often. That all Krishna is asking love and devotion. And there will be bliss that comes out of it. And Prabhupada says bhakti is never causal. So causal means cause and effect. Right? It means cause and effect. So bhakti is unconditional. It's Krishna's mercy. It's not cause and effect. Okay, so let's move on to the next verse. Yat karoshi yad ashnashi yad juhoshi dadashi yat tapasyasi konteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. Right. So now Krishna is further elaborating on. So now this is actually, if you read this, whatever you do, whatever you eat, right? So this is not necessarily pure bhakti. This is not Shuddha bhakti that Krishna is talking about here. He's talking about Mishra bhakti, mixed bhakti, right? Eat whatever you like, do what like do what you like, eat what you like, but you do as an offering to me. So here, surrender to Krishna is not prominent. What I like is prominent, right? Sometimes I would say, Premdham would say, oh, today I will feed, pizza to Krishna Balram. Okay, why? Because I want to eat pizza today. So it's not bhakti, but it's mixed bhakti, right? So not exactly Shuddha bhakti, right? Many times we come to Krishna consciousness, we have a passion of our own for doing things, and so we use that passion. But after a certain level of maturity, then we start looking at it from Krishna's perspective. What does Krishna want me to do? And that message comes through the Guru. What does my Guru want me to do? Not what I want to do, and then I some way or the other ask my guru and my guru agrees. That's not the way. So this verse is more in a Mishra Bhakti. Right? So Krishna is not using the word bhakti here. Right? So the principal offering to him is also auspicious. Right? He does not reject it. Right? So even if we don't have pure devotion, Krishna accepts it. But then how he accepts it? He accepts it through a guru. Right? So when we offer, whenever we are offering prasadam, we offer a mantra to our guru, to Prabhupada. So when we are offering prasadam, we are not directly giving it to Krishna. It goes to my guru, and then it goes to Prabhupada, and then it goes up the lineage. So even though I am not pure, I don't have pure devotion, still Krishna accepts it through my guru. Right? The last verse we did, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, it was more that he accepts. Right? So and it says dadasi, you give away. Right? So many times devotees, whenever they see, like for example, many times I see a flower and I think, oh, I'll offer it to my deities. So similarly, whenever we see anything new, we should offer to Krishna. Whatever austerities we perform, we do so many austerities in our material life. We go to work and we're struggling at work and so on and so forth. So that way, we offer that to Krishna also. Right? And somebody can even say, okay, Krishna is saying offer everything to me. So does that mean that we can also offer the negative things we are doing? Right? That the unwholesome acts we do, right? Dushkarma we do, right? So when we we cannot necessarily offer the bad activities, but we can offer the attachment to those bad activities to Krishna. That's one way in doing it. Whether it's good or bad, whatever attachment I have, right? So then we offer that to Krishna. Rupa Goswami has taught that us in one of the Bhakti Sandarbhas, that we can offer the attachment to those things to Krishna. So in that way, it means that we can offer everything, right? So that's another way to look at it. That yes, we can offer everything. Things that are obviously that are auspicious, but sometimes inauspicious. But when it's inauspicious things, we are offering the attachment to those inauspicious things, not necessarily the inauspicious things by themselves. That's what we are offering to Krishna. So this is what Krishna is saying here in this verse. Okay, so let's come to 28. Shubha Shubh Phaler Evam Mokshase Karma Bandhane Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upashyasi. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you'll be liberated and come to me. So here Krishna is saying Shubha, Ashubha. So Shubha is auspicious, Ashubha. So all the results of auspicious and inauspicious will basically the question is that what is the result of following the verses that we just read? Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam and Yad Karoshi Dashnasi. So there are two results. What are they? Krishna is saying you'll become free, moksha se. The one of the results is moksha se. The meaning moksha se means liberated. Right? That's one result. And then sannyasa yoga vimukto mam upashyasi. The another word is vimukto. Vimukto also means liberated, right? And is that moksha se karma bandhana. So in this way you'll be freed, and it's Ashvi, with your mind fixed on me, you'll be liberated and come to me. Your mind fixed on me. So realization. The two things that are going to happen. One is liberation, and the other is realization. Right? So if we follow those two verses, 26 and 7, we'll be freed from all karma bandhana. Right? So what is the culmination of all we do, the food to offer and all the tapasya, everything, that we'll be liberated and we have realization. And so that's the outcome of those. And okay, let's see, Prabhupada is saying, it is clearly mentioned here, Mam Upashyasi. He comes to me, back home, back to Godhead. There are 5 different stages of liberation And here it is specified that the devotees who has always lived in this lifetime, here lived his lifetime here under the direction of the Supreme Lord, as stated, has evolved to the point where he can, after quitting his body, go back to Godhead and engage directly in the association of the Supreme Lord. So Krishna Prabhupada is saying there are 5 different kinds of liberation. So because it's liberation and realization are the 2 outcomes of it. So what are the 5 liberations? Let me see, where can I find that? It's in it's in 3rd canto. It comes in the 3rd canto. Quickly show you what is 3rd canto. So in the 3rd canto, this is 3rd canto, verse number 29. Sorry, chapter number 29, verse number 13. We are told by Sukadeva Goswami is telling us the pure devotee does not accept any kind of liberation. The 5 liberations are Salokya, Sashti, Samipya, Sarupya, or Ekatva. Okay, so let's see. I think Prabhupada gives the meaning of each one of them also. Yes, here it is. When a devotee is promoted to the spiritual world, Vaikuntha, he receives 4 kinds of facilities. One of them is Salokya. Salokya means living on the same planet as the Supreme Lord. Okay, so that's Salokya. That's the first one. Sashti. Opulence of the devotee is equal to the opulence of the Supreme Lord. Right? So in Vaikuntha, all the devotees there have similar opulence. They are similarly, the body is same colored. They have 4 arms. They are as beautiful. So there are same opulences. So then is Samipya, that one becomes a personal associate of the Lord. Right? The personal associate can be anybody. The people who are, offering the fan to Krishna, or who are, his friends who play with him or whatever. So those not Vaikuntha, they don't play with him, but his probably his servants. So Samipya. And then Sarupya is bodily features of the devotees exactly like those of the Supreme Person, but for 2 or 3 symptoms found exclusively on the transcendental body of the Lord. So bodily features also become the same. And the last is Ekatvena, which Prabhupada says, where is that? Ekatva. Ekatva means oneness with the Lord. So these are the 5 different liberations being talked about. And as a devotee, we don't want anybody, any one of them. The Prabhupada has told us that the devotee is not interested in any one of them. So we are only interested in service. We don't want to go and merge in his body katva. That's hellish for us. We don't want to, it's like samipya, all that. We are not interested in that. We can get that. We're not saying no, but we're not interested in that. What we are interested in is only service to Krishna. Okay? And then Prabhupada, so that was third canto, chapter 29, verse number 13. Anyone who has no interest but to dedicate his life to the service of the Lord is actually a sannyasi. So sannyasi is one who has dedicated his life completely to the Lord. So the word sannyasi has the word san means complete. No, sorry. Yes, san means complete, samyak, right? So the word san means complete or everything. And ayasi means in its right place. So a sannyasi knows what is the right use of everything in this world. And so right use of everything in this world is to offer it to Krishna. So that person is a sannyasi. Okay, that was the verse 28. And here comes 29. This is a very interesting verse. Here Krishna very clearly tells that how he is impartially partial, as you would say. Let's read this. Sammoham sarva bhuteshu name deveshu asti na priya ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maitateshu chapiham. I envy no one, nor I am partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. So the first part Krishna is mentioning is Sammoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti na priya. I envy no one, I'm not partial to anyone, I'm equal to all. How is he equal to all? As Paramatma. He's sitting in everybody's heart. equally, guiding everybody equally. So he's equal to all. But in his Bhagavana Roop, Swayam Shama Sundar Bhagavan Roop, he becomes more favorable to the devotees. Right? He's saying, I become a friend to them. I become a friend. Right? Just like, and I think Prabhupada gives this, he gives a very good analogy here. Yeah, this one. Any man in this material world may be very charitably disposed, yet he has a special interest in his own children. So however charitable I might be, but I will have a favorable inclination towards my own child, right? So somebody can ask, oh, if Krishna is equal to everyone, why does he take special interest in devotees? So this is the answer to that, that he takes interest because they are his own children, right? So if we understand, Krishna does not need bhakti from us. He's complete. He's Atma Rama. We do bhakti is for our own benefit, right? How they say that when we decorate our face, the reflection in the mirror automatically gets beautified, right? So Krishna manifests the perfect reciprocation. When Krishna eats in Goloka, when Krishna is eating with his friends, each friend thinks that Krishna is looking at me and he's enjoying my food. He's eating food from my hand, right? So, but sometimes it can seem to us that Krishna is not reciprocating, right? We don't have a reciprocation demand. Devotees, as I mentioned earlier, devotees don't demand reciprocation from Krishna. And sometimes Krishna, it seems that, oh, Krishna does not reciprocate to devotees also. Sometimes you might see, right, that you might think that, oh, this person has been practicing bhakti seriously for such a long time. Still, he's suffering, he or she is suffering. We see that. But then there are also many reasons behind it. Krishna sometimes doesn't give the results of bhakti right away. He waits. He waits till the last moment. Sometimes when people are leaving their body, then Krishna gives everything. The perfect reciprocation comes. Right? So I knew a devotee many years ago, and when he was leaving, he was not very serious. He would come to the temple like once a month, and he would do some service here and there. But that's so much of value Krishna puts in even that little service a person does, that when he was leaving his body, there were devotees chanting around him. He was wearing a tilak, and he was wearing a narsinga, that garland, and he was so he had all the facilities to make his departure favorable. So that's how Krishna sometimes manifests. He sometimes doesn't give right away. And somebody can ask, why doesn't Krishna give that some things right away? It's because Krishna is a father to everybody. Even though people are not interested in coming to him, he's still their father. So he doesn't want to do something so extreme that it demotivates the other practitioners, like yoga practitioners, the dhyana yogi, the jnana yogis. If they see that devotees are getting everything, all the results, and they themselves don't have the capacity, guna and karma, to practice devotion, then they will lose heart and even give up what they are doing. So Krishna is also taking care of them. So sometimes he doesn't give to devotees at the right time. But then as devotees, we don't expect reciprocation, right? So that's the essence, right? So earlier we read, ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamiham. That however you come to me, I'll reciprocate. But here, Krishna is showing more inclination towards devotees. So even if we show a little devotion to Krishna, Krishna reciprocates, right? So in these last four verses at 26, 27, 28, the four verses that we have read, what did we see? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhakti prachati. Bhakti is very simple, right? It's very, very simple. You can offer a fruit, a flower, that's all. Water, leaf. That's the first thing, right? Second thing we noticed was results are sublime. What do we get? Subhasho falireva moksha se karma bandhana. But it's liberating and it gives us realization. So the results are sublime. And third, Krishna is impartially partial to devotees. So these three results, the three advantages that is not available to any other yoga practitioner. Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, to nobody, only to Bhakti yogis. So what are those? Bhakti is simple, results are sublime, and Krishna is partial to devotees. So that itself should be a big motivation for all of us to continue. I'll take a pause here. Anything on your mind that you'd like to bring out? Any thoughts? After this, I think 30, 31, 32. We have 5 more verses to go, and Krishna is going to change gears a bit. Anything that you would like to reflect upon, anything that caught your attention, anything you didn't like, anything.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I really liked all that you explained today, and especially the point when you said that, Krishna is impartially partial, and he can give his bhakti to anybody at any time, even at the point of death or something like that, that you explained. So, it's really, because sometimes we don't see it, that it's coming to us, as you said, but then it is always there. His mercy is always there, and it can be visible at some point in our life. So he is there for us. So thank you for explaining that point very well.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that out. Yes, and it's not that Krishna always gives at the last moment. Don't think that also. We all every day see realizations. We all get realizations. We see Krishna's hand in everything. And he teaches us from different ways. So it's not that he gives mercy only in the last one, but sometimes some people might not see any reciprocation, but in the last moment Krishna can give everything. So it can be that way also. I just wanted to mention that extreme also. But he can give also at any time he wishes. As you said, he's causeless mercy, right?
Yes, Prabhu. I just wanted to say that, sometimes it happens that way. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Anything else on anyone's mind?
Haribol.
Haribol, Prabhu.
You said it was simple, sublime, and what was the last one?
Impartially partial to devotees.
Oh, impartially partial. Okay.
Yeah, so these are the qualities which are not available to any other practitioner. Hatha yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, karma, whatever it may be. They don't have these benefits. Only the devotees have this benefit. That we can continue to do our 40-hour-a-week jobs and still become devotees. So, yeah. Okay, nothing else? Then we can move forward. Okay, so I think this Prabhupada is saying here that the Lord's reciprocation should not be considered to be under the law of karma. It belongs to the transcendental situation in which the Lord and his devotees function. Devotional service to the Lord is not an activity of this material world. It is part of the spiritual world, where eternity, bliss, and knowledge predominate. This is a very powerful statement Prabhupada is making, that devotional service is not an activity of this material world. Even though it seems material, it's not. But unfortunately, I'm not able to realize it yet because there is a thick fog, there is a thick covering on my consciousness. But it is of a spiritual nature. Okay, 30. Api chetsu duracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhur eva sa mantavya samyak vivasito hi saha. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. This is an interesting verse. Krishna is saying sudurachar, right? So durachar is bad conduct. Sudurachar is really bad conduct. Su, right? So the word, when we add the prefix in Sanskrit su, it makes it even more, it increases the intensity of it, right? There's one level to be a a cheater, cheating people of their money. But then there's another level is killing somebody. What Krishna is saying, if one continues to worship with loving devotion, he must be considered a sadhu. So what is Krishna is saying? Sadhu eva, certainly. The word eva means certainly. Where is that? Certainly. Sadhur eva sa mantavya. He's to be considered as a sadhu. And Krishna is using mantavya. The word mantavya is to be considered. He's not giving an opinion, like many places Krishna says, oh, this is my opinion. No, he's not an opinion. He's giving an instruction. It's not a suggestion. Now, this can be a bit mind-boggling, right? Krishna is saying, samyak vivasito hi saha, that he will soon be, that fault will be rectified, right? And one analogy to look at it is that we may laugh at somebody who is standing under a shower, but he's very dirty, right? He's been wallowing in the mud and he comes and stands under the shower. And we'll say, oh, look at him, he's so dirty. But soon that person will be cleansed if he continues to stand under the shower, right? But this should not be taken as an excuse or a ticket to do durachara, right? That's what Krishna is highlighting here. Sudurachara is okay, but it should not be we should not use this verse as an excuse to do Sudurachara. In the 6th canto, in the 1st chapter, Sukadev Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj, Kvachin nivartate abhadrat, Kvachin charati tat punha, prashitam atho apartham, manyate kunjara shochvat. Right? That people, what do? Is they do a sin and then they atone for it, and then they again do a sin. What is he correlating that to is Kunjara Shochvat. Kunjara Shochvat is bathing of an elephant. The elephant, he goes into the lake, takes a nice clean bath, comes out, fills his trunk with the sand and just sprinkles it on himself. So what is the use of it? Right? So we should not be like that elephant. We should not be at the strength of this practice of devotion. We should not misuse it. Right? So sadhureva samantavya. So there are two kinds of fall down. If you see, there are two kinds of fall down. One is a premeditated fall down. Yeah, I know that if I go to that place or if I do this activity, I will pollute my consciousness. Still, I don't make any efforts to avoid it. Krishna is not sanctioning that kind of sudurachar here. What he is sanctioning is which is not premeditated. A fall down which is not premeditated. And the example is of Ajamil. Ajamil was a pious Brahmin. He was practicing all of his Brahmanical qualities. One day he goes out to collect flowers for the deities and he sees something happening, and that was not premeditated. He didn't plan for it and he falls down. So Krishna here is talking about the people who are having a unpremeditated fall down. Unpremeditated. I'm not sure if that's a word, but something that has not been meditated or thought through. So that kind of fall down is acceptable. Okay. So there is a difference between. So I quoted that verse from the 6th canto where it's Kunjare Manyate Kunjara Shochvat. So there is a difference between Paschatap. So we talked about it in the first verse of the Nectar of Instruction. Prabhupada talks about different kinds of intelligence. There's a difference between Paschatap. Paschatap means repentance. Inner feeling that I have done something wrong and I won't do it again. And then there is Praschit. Praschit is atonement. Okay, but then Prashit doesn't guarantee Paschatap. So atonement doesn't necessarily guarantee repentance. Atonement doesn't have repentance in it. Might or might not have repentance in it, right? So that atonement doesn't lead to an inner transformation, right? So if some people, they let's see what Prabhupada is saying. Sorry, I think I'm missing something here. Oh, okay. I'm not sure which. So, but yes. So atonement is not the proper process. It's a mockery of the whole devotional service process, right? And on the other side is the practice of devotional service. And samyak vivasito. So the word samyak vivasito that Krishna is using Samyak Vivasito is completely situated in determination, properly situated in determination. Right? So what it means is that even after fall down, the person still worships Krishna. He doesn't give up bhakti. It's not as if he falls down and he says, oh, I'll take up Gyan now. Okay. Or I'll take up karma to rectify my fault. No, no. He is desirous of attaining Krishna and not material happiness. Actually, he is more determined to repent now. So that is the kind of the non-premeditated fall down that Krishna is talking about here. Right? So there are devotees in ISKCON who have left ISKCON and then they have come back. There was so once Prabhupada wanted to spread his movement across the whole world so that it could sustain itself when he leaves. Prabhupada wanted to send somebody to Japan. And there was an assembly of his disciples, and Prabhupada asked that, who will go to Japan? Nobody raised their hand. Prabhupada said, if you go, I'll personally pray to Krishna to take you back to Godhead. Still nobody raised his hand. And then Prabhupada said, if somebody goes to Japan, I will personally take them back home, back to Godhead. So then one devotee raises his hand. His name was Sudama Swami. So Sudama Swami went and preached in Japan, and he opened temples there. And it was an extremely tough task because Japan was still going through its own atomic bomb depression. So Sudama Swami, he went there and he made devotees there, but then he left the movement. And after a decade or even more than a decade, he came back. And he met devotees and he told them that, I've realized what a fault I have made. And he was leaving his body. He was having some sort of a cancer, I think, leukemia or something of that sort. And so the devotees happily, took care of him. And, at his last moment, devotees were doing kirtan and, he was unconscious. So once he came back, then he was doing his sadhana perfectly. And he was unconscious and, he was in a state of coma. There's so much of morphine given when you're suffering from cancer, when you're about to leave. So he was in a state of kind of a coma. And just before he was leaving his body, he woke up and he said, Prabhupada, you have come to take me. And then he left his body. Right? So that is the power. That is the kind of determination, that a devotee has, a determination to repent, and that person is accepted by Krishna. By his pure devotees. So that was the power of the repentance that this Sudama Swami had, that Prabhupada came back and took him. Prabhupada had made that commitment and Prabhupada fulfilled it. Right? So I personally have a major fault is that I don't have faith in Krishna's words. Therefore, we should read these kind of verses again and again, because these verses give us hope that even though I make mistakes, Krishna will let me keep doing bhakti. He'll let me grow in bhakti. Right? And now someone may say, but what about this fault? That person has actually done something wrong. Right? And then Krishna, to answer that, he says, but then he's also doing Ananya Bhakti. No? So he's saying Ananya Bhag. Ananya is, where is that? Ananya, without deviation. So somebody might comment that, oh, this person has done a fault. But then Krishna is saying, but then this person is also doing Ananya Bhakti. What about that? So Krishna is defending his devotee. And this verse also should teach us to be tolerant. I am always looking at other people and thinking, oh, this person is a sinner. We are always trying to point out faults in others. You're in a prasadam line and somebody just points out, oh, don't give food with your left hand, or don't give it with this. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong, but then we all are in that mentality of finding faults in others. Right? But that should not be our case. Our only religion should be to find faults in ourselves and to correct them. That should be our only religion. So this verse also teaches us to be tolerant to other devotees. When we offer our activities to Krishna, we become from both auspicious and inauspicious. We read that in the last. The karma bandha is lost. So that's what is Krishna is mentioning here, that even if you're doing it, but then if you're doing Ananya Bhakti, if you're fixed and your fall down is not premeditated, I'll take care of you. Don't worry. Right? And there's one thing that I wanted to highlight here, if I can find it. Where's that? Is it? Occasional. So one word Prabhupada uses is occasional, and the other he uses is accidental. So in this verse, I'm trying to find this one, accidental. So Prabhupada uses the word accidental 7 times in this verse, and twice he uses occasional. So Prabhupada is very emphatically stressing on the concept that the fall down is accidental and it's occasional. I haven't made a habit out of it, and it's not premeditated. So if that is the situation, then sudurachara, still if I continue to do my bhakti, Krishna takes care of me. So that's the important part, accidental and occasional.
Haribol.
Haribol, Prabhu.
Well, this sort of bothers me because, I mean, at what point, I mean, how do we say meditated, not premeditated? How do we say it's occasional and it's not? And if it's, let's say like the child abuse thing, if you're in a position that you repeatedly do it and finally you get caught and it's been going on for a long time, what is my mentality? What is my mentality? What, you're saying you're supposed to be tolerant. But outwardly or, even publicly, do we just, I don't understand how to tread that path. I try not, I realize, well, if this is done and this is done, it's obviously black and white. So therefore I have to realize that it's not good and then shut up. But because I have to somehow figure out a form of tolerance. This is just, inside, I'm somewhat intense and harsh about that type of thing. And then if I publicly try to not punish that person, or say, okay, yeah, you've done all this, so you're still together. We're going to let you hang out. You deserve everything, but you just can't be in this position anymore. I just don't understand how to tread that area.
Yeah, no, I understand that, Prabhu. It's a deep thing, and we need to understand God and how He works. Right? God has created a system in this world for our protection and sustenance, and usually He offers His care and attention to us through those systems. It's obviously it's heartbreaking to hear when the children are abused. Right? It can leave a permanent scar on them. Right? At the same time, we all need to recognize that God has given everyone free will, but unfortunately, some people misuse their free will, right? And then humans misuse their free will, and then we also create systems to protect others from such, so misuse and victimization. So what I'm saying is, Prabhu, that it's a horrendous crime. There's no giving away from that. But then it's also to understand that God often intervenes through a human agent, right? God sometimes also intervenes supernaturally sometimes, but then He often sends help through a human agent, right? So there has been an abuse. It's obviously unfortunate, but then one who has been abused has to take an initiative and to seek protection to counter that abuse, right? And so we have to also look at it from the other perspective also. So I understand it's not the right thing, but then we also have to look, people have free will, and then people misuse that free will, right? And unfortunately, we live in a society where there are perverted individuals, they're psychopaths, sociopaths. They prey upon the weak and the helpless, right? So we as a family, we should try to create a society where these things can be avoided, right? people whom we normally trust turns out to be the one who betray us. So then there's the one who commit horrendous abuses. So we have to create an environment where these things can be openly discussed. So, but yeah, no, I agree with you. It's something very hard to process when it's happening to somebody, some children especially.
Yeah, well, I mean, Prabhupada Prabhupada does give an explanation at the end. He says it should be understood that if he does not improve in his character by devotional service, then it's to be understood that he's not a high devotee. We know he's a devotee. He's trying to be. We would hope he's trying to be a devotee, but in his position that he's committed an offense, we realize that that's not the true elevated position that one should be walking. So Prabhupada says, then it's to be considered. I mean, no one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense.
Yeah. And it's seeing God as a preventer of sufferings or protector from sufferings. We should also see him as a healer amidst all that suffering. Yes, some sufferings are unavoidable, and analyzing their specific causes can help us, prevent the repetition. But sometimes we get stuck with the why question. Why such a thing happened to me? Why did this person act this way? Why did God not intervene? So such questions can be simply expressways to frustration. So rather than tormenting ourselves with such questions which have no answer, we can see the God as a healer and change the inner question from why to how. For example, how can we move forward now? How can I do something positive now? Right? And I think so when we see all these kind of abuses happening, and obviously because of some perverted individual with sociopaths, people out there, we can move that question to how now we can make something positive out of it. Right? And if we see God as a healer, we find that there is a tremendous healing available for us, whatever situation we may find ourselves in, or we may find others in. So we can give them something, some sort of healing, So that also is another way. So we should not always look at God as a preventer of suffering and a protector of from sufferings. We should also see him as a healer. Right? And because we all have free will, we misuse that free will, and sometimes God intervenes, sometimes he does not. And we don't know the reason behind it, why. Frankly, nobody knows why it happens. Some people can become hard-hearted and say, "Oh, this was your karma that you had to suffer because of." But who knows what karma is? We're not using karma to make a judgment against people. So there are many ways to gain that inner calmness and clarity by which we can make the best use of it. So God is like a physician, right? Who want to help us heal, but if we are obstinate to know why a particular disease infected us, the approach might become difficult. So rather than blaming the physician for not warning us or protecting us from the disease, if we just take the prescribed medicine, then we will be healed. Right? And obviously there have to be some practical things also. This is philosophical, more psychological, but there have to be some actual ways by which we can protect these things from happening, these kind of abuses from happening. Right? So yes, Prabhu. Sorry, I'm not sure if I fully gave an answer, but
I understand that, but but sometimes people look up to me. I've been around for a long time. They say, "Well, what do you think about this?"
Mm-hmm.
And deep down inside, I'm very much disturbed. Something like that is not so, and I'm not worried about the person that suffered as much as the act of this against another devotee.
Yeah.
This part. I mean, because anger is to be used when one does something against a devotee. So there's a fine line there, and I mean, maybe publicly people have to understand that we don't tolerate that, but at the same time, deep down in my heart, I'm hoping that I can have some type of tolerance and see that Prabhupada said it's to be understood that he's not a high devotee.
Yeah. For sure that person is not a high devotee, Prabhu. I agree with you. Yeah. And Prabhu, I'm something that I've realized in the past couple of years or so. It's going on everywhere, Prabhu. Yes, you specifically mentioned one scenario, child abuse, but devotees abusing other devotees is happening everywhere. You know, I don't have to give you example, but it's happening
Right.
everywhere. You see somebody or the other either manipulating somebody or misusing somebody, or hurting them, giving a rationale that, oh, this is all for bhakti, this is needed, so that's when they're mistreating other devotees. So it's all prevalent, it's happening everywhere. And the only way we can get out of it, or continue with our bhakti, is by tolerating it and by understanding that Krishna has a plan behind it. No, otherwise I'll go crazy if I start to keep on asking for a why answer to everything.
Yeah, I mean, one time, I mean, just recently, a person 2 days ago said, "Well, how do I deal with the devotees when they're tripping out on each other like this?" And I said, "Well, Prabhupada said one thing: when a devotee saw another devotee doing something like that, Prabhupada said, 'Oh, don't you become like them.
Yeah,
You follow the four regular principles. You become pure, and they will follow you.' And I take it not so much follow me as much as follow this process, which is become purified and not act like that."
yeah, yeah,
I mean, so there's a way of tolerance in seeing that, you have an answer to a solution without being negative.
yeah.
I'm trying to be in a position that, tolerance to me it seems like, not trying to pass judgment, because what position am I?
Yeah.
So therefore, if I don't pass judgment, then I'm having tolerance. So the solution to the tolerances, though, is the proper mentality and attitude, which is don't become like that.
Don't become that. Yeah, that's correct, Prabhu.
And then follow the four regular principles.
Yeah.
Chant the holy name, you become pure, and they will follow you.
They'll follow you, yes. But yes, Prabhu, I agree with you. And the more I was talking to Gopal Prabhu a couple of days ago, and I was mentioning to him that till date, all I was doing was changing my external environment. I started wearing devotee clothes, wearing kanti mala, all that. But now I'm realizing as I grow older is that my internal environment change has to happen. Without that, I'm not a devotee. I cannot even claim to be a devotee. My heart has to clean up. And for that, my heart to clean up, I'll have to let go of what others are doing to me, how they have hurt me. Otherwise, I'll never be able to grow in bhakti if I keep on asking the question, why? The question that I need to ask is, what is the lesson for me in this, whatever is happening? I know it's a very hard thing to do, but that's the only way by which I can continue in my bhakti. Otherwise, I'll just be stuck at the same position and keep asking the question, why? And I'll never get an answer because my mind does not have an answer. But it does have an answer as to what the lesson is for me.
Yeah, and then in the neophyte stage, the beginning stage, yeah, we have external activities and there's internal activities, but then in a more refined, elevated way, it all becomes internal activities only. I mean, it becomes so intimately private and so intimately intense what you're really doing, but externally you're just going on like, I'm doing my sadhana bhakti, but there's something internal now.
Yeah.
This becomes deeply, deeply more internal, and it becomes something that's very intimate and private, and it's not even publicly shared.
Yeah.
And if shared with anybody, it might be only one devotee. Like Narottam Das Thakur, he had one devotee that if he had to come back, he wants to be wherever he is. He had that special association with one.
Yeah.
And he would say, don't get upset, if I don't tell you, what am I really doing? But because that evolution becomes intimate and private.
Yeah.
But so like you say, there has to be some internal changes going on as we evolve. And so don't be surprised when you get to the end of the book, it says everything you're doing should be good. Everything that's super personal, elevated is all internal.
Yes, it's all internal. Yeah.
I mean, this is a work in progress. So at least if we can understand that, maybe we can't follow that, but the first is to try to understand it before you can imbibe it, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. And at a point comes in our bhakti when we are all only looking for peace. You know, I don't
Yes.
care what others have done to me. And if they're envious of me, or if I just want to get rid of that. It's too much heavy. Envy, pride, all these things are too heavy. They become very heavy for me to carry in my heart as we grow in bhakti. So I just give them up. I say, I don't want that. You know, Krishna, you take it. And that's one of the, how they call it, the most powerful tools of bhakti is that we just ask for Krishna's help. Krishna, I'm done. I don't want this in my heart, but then I'm weak. I cannot take it out from my heart myself. You come and help me. You know, so whatever level I am, we can be sincere and then just beg for Krishna's help. Right? He's sitting in my heart, right? My heart is meant to be a garden for Krishna, and that garden is polluted right now. It's full of weeds. So all I can tell Krishna, Krishna, I need your help. This is your garden. You come and help me out. And he will come, right? It's his garden. Why wouldn't he come to help me out? That's the only way. Everything becomes very heavy. Envy, all these questions, right? Oh, why is this devotee doing that? Or why did this happen to me? All that becomes too heavy for me to carry in my heart. I just want to give it up. But yeah, that was a very valid point, Prabhu. I think we all go through it. Why is it happening? Why are devotees mistreating each other? But then the end point is just tolerate, and let's take it as, if it's happening to me, I just take it as Krishna's blessings, right? Anything that's happening to me is Krishna's benevolent plan to bring me closer to him. We just look at everything that way, and then nothing remains negative in my life. Thank you for bringing that out, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Okay, so we read that Suduraj.
Prabhu,
Yes, please.
Can I just add something?
Yes, please. Go ahead, Mata.
So Prabhu, I just took a course and they share that asking why, we can just flip that switch, and we can say, you know, who hurt me, also who helped me, and who hurt you, who helped you, and who healed you. So if we, you know, want to take it in a different perspective, and it's the Lord, you know. So you know, the Lord's, you know, helping you and healing you also. So just wanted to share.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yes, you know, all this happens, right? We had this brutal rape a few years ago in India, in Delhi, and everybody asked this question: what was the karma of the girl who got run? Why is this happening? And people get so engrossed in that why question. And obviously, the act itself is heinous, it's brutal, it's wrong. But then if we'll never get an answer why, because that's beyond the scope of my mind. So all we just do is we just, you know, move ahead, tolerate and move ahead. Yeah. Yes, thank you for bringing that out. Instead of why, who hurt me, who helped me, and who healed me.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, so one incident that I kind of saw was something that, you know, Prabhuji just mentioned, that, you know, you see someone doing something, the same kind of thing again and again, you know, and I mean, you get close to a lot of people at the temple, right? You become friends with them, and you become really close friends with them. So when you see that, and, you know, like I'm if I can't like see it, I want to say something, you know. And I think that if you don't say something, I mean, I understand that it's that person's karma. Let them be and let them figure it out. But I think also, if you don't say something, they'll continue being bad, you know. So I you know, said something, and I said, this is not right. This is not, you know, this is not bhakti. This is not Krishna consciousness. You know, you cannot do this. You know, the person is young, you're older. You should actually guide the person in the right direction instead of scolding the person, you know. So yeah. I think, like, I mean, I'm not a senior devotee, you know, I'm older than the person, but, you know, I think a lot of times I hear that we cannot say anything, we should not say anything. But I think that's like deep down in my heart, I felt, you know, I should have said something. So I did, you know. And
we,
the person realized, you know,
we all should speak out. Yes, it's not, we should not stay
but
silent.
didn't say sorry. I mean, yeah. Go ahead, Prabhuji. Sorry.
No, I agree with you. So it doesn't mean that if we are devotees, we just stay silent. You did the right thing. We should bring it out to the right authorities. That's why there is a GBC, there is a system of authority in ISKCON. We should always bring out what we were talking about is more internal. If it disturbs me and my bhakti, we should also look at it from that perspective, that how can I prevent this particular episode to avoid distracting me from my bhakti. But yes, you're right. You did the right thing. You brought it to the right authorities, and you let people know that this was wrong, that was happening. Yeah.
Haribol?
Haribol, Prabhu.
Yeah, one thing is too, Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he said, you know, if you see something going on and it's bad, then he said, if you're close to them, you talk to them personally, and you don't try to just do it in front of everyone, number one. Number two, he says, okay, you see it's wrong. So then you and I see it's wrong, and I come to you, oh, Premadan, he did this. No, you don't discuss it amongst each other, and it becomes a form of gossip.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that is not the issue we take. And yes, if it is wrong, then we should personally, you know, try to either tell someone in charge, or if we know the person, do. But we don't just hang out and see all the fault finding and just turn it into a gossip thing too.
Yeah.
And so some people say, well, you know, so they start talking to me about it like then it's a form of gossip. You know, I have nothing to do with it, and neither do you. So let's not talk like that. You know, so and we have to be careful about that, because we don't want to make that mistake either. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's not right. That's not hard. So we have to be sensitive and mature about that too. And we get, well, they're doing it, so it's okay to talk about it. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
If it's wrong, that's fine, but it's not a topic for discussion. If anything, we should try to, you know, correct ourselves. But if you go into the form of discussing it, I mean, because we don't have anything better to talk about, you know, or whatever. There's a way to correct it, and then the rest of it, I realized, just shut up, because I'm not supposed to. Who do I think I am? I mean, who do I think I am? Either I should, you know, and personally, I can, you know, say, oh yeah, he needs to get it together, you know. But who am I? It's not a public discussion thing, so we have to be careful too, because we don't want to commit offense after an offense.
Yeah. We don't want to do that. It's prajalpa. It's a useless discussion that can distract us from bhakti. We should not do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Asmita Mati, did you finish? I think I stopped you in between what you were saying.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I finished.
Okay.
And you know, you and Prabhuji, Sankirtan Prabhuji said perfect things, which were, you know, bring it up to leadership, so they know. You know, and don't take it in your hand. Don't take it upon yourself. You know.
Yeah, that's the right thing. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Hare Krishna.
So now moving on to the next verse, Krishna mentioned Suduracharo, the person who's doing something wrong, but he's doing it. He's not premeditated. He's not consciously making a thought that, okay, this is the way I'm going to enjoy or do this. So what happens to that person? He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. So it's saying, Konteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. This is a very beautiful verse that Krishna is saying to Arjun, that you declare that my devotee never perishes. So now the question is that what happens to the devotee who has accidentally fallen down? Accidental and occasional are the two words Prabhupada is using in the last purport. He who has accidentally fallen down, but he's still continuing his bhakti, he attains lasting peace. So, and then Krishna is asking Konteya to take this vow. Someone may say, Krishna, you take the vow. Why are you asking your devotees to take the vow? So Krishna is saying, I am infamous for breaking my vows. I always break my vows. So we see that when, you know, Bhishma, we'll see that when Mahabharata later on, that when Bhishma was about to kill Arjuna, he had taken a vow to kill Arjun, Krishna intervenes. When Arjun had made a vow to kill Jayadratha, who was responsible for his son Abhimanyu's death in Mahabharata. Krishna helped him there. He intervened. So he broke his promise. But then, if a devotee makes a promise, if a devotee makes a vow, Krishna will never break it. Prahlad Maharaj said, God is in every pillar. His father asked him, Hiranyakashipu, oh, is your God in the pillars? Krishna said, Prahlad Maharaj said, yes, he's in the pillar. And Nrsimhadev didn't know in which pillar is he going to hit his his weapon. So he was in all the pillars waiting for him. That's the level of reciprocation that Krishna does for his pure devotees. If a devotee makes a vow, everyone can rest assured that Krishna will fulfill that vow. That is the loving reciprocation Krishna has towards a devotee. Right? So, and Krishna, someone may ask that, Krishna, this person is contaminated now. Will you still accept his offering? Krishna is saying, Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma. He's saying, Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma. Very soon he'll become pure. Right? Our mood should be that I have done an offense, and Krishna, please let me continue with devotee association. Please let me continue with bhakti. I am sincerely repenting that I have made this offense, but please let me continue. Right? And even in the Padma Puran, the solution to making an offense of chanting Hare Krishna Mantra is to chant more. Nama pradyuktanam namani eva haranti agham avishranti paryuktani tani evartha karani cha. So when we chant with offense, because we all chant with nama prad. So at least I chant, sorry, I cannot say about everybody. But then the only way to overcome that offense is to chant more and more. So Krishna is okay, so let's see what Prabhupada said. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. So Krishna is Shuddham Apapa Vidham. In the Sri Abhīṣṭa-dohaṁ, we will do next book. The 8th verse, Krishna says, we are told, Saprayaga Shukram Akayam Avarnam Ashnaviram Shuddham Apapa Vidham. So Krishna is prophylactic and antiseptic. He prevents from any new impurity from coming in, and he removes what is already there. So the whole theme is that yogis and jnanis, they don't get this facility. They don't get Krishna's loving reciprocation. They don't get Krishna's prophylactic and antiseptic nature. Only we as devotees get that. That is what Krishna is establishing in these verses. 32. Mam hi partha vipashritya ye api suya pap yoniyo striyo vaishyas tatha shudras te api yanti param gatim. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they may be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, and Shudras, workers, can attain the supreme destination. Right? So how Papayoni? Who's Papayoni? Papayoni is somebody born with a sinful background. Here only 3 are mentioned. Women, Shudra, Vaishyas, and Shudras. But there are many more, right? In the 2nd canto, Kirata, Hunandra, Purinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Sumba, Yavana, Kashadya. There is a verse that mentions all these people, Kirata, Huna. So Kirata, like Huna is people who are in Germany and Russia, and Andhra is, is in South India. So there are people from all over the world who are worse, right? They are very low. They are low. They are even lower than the Varnashrama system because they have no purificatory activities, right? So there are people from all backgrounds who can be purified by doing bhakti process. That is the beauty of bhakti. Wherever background we are coming from, we can be purified. Right? Now, someone may be upset by the use of the word stri here, it's a woman. Right? First of all, we have to understand, and we talked about this concept of women being less intelligent or lower. We talked about it earlier. But so, first of all, we have to understand that we all are Shudras. Right? Kalo Shudra Sambhava. We are told in the Shastras that in Kali Yuga, everybody is Shudra. So everybody is included in this verse, not only women, because Shudras are being taught. We all are Shudras. By being devotees, I can come from the level of Shudra to a Brahmana. And similarly, women can also come from a level up to that level of Brahmana. So we all have equal opportunities. So first thing is that we all are Shudras in this world, right? So we are lesser than that. And this verse is not supposed to be used as an arena for firing shots at one another. It is to be understand that we all are disqualified, right? And we all should read that. There's a chapter in the, what's that book? The Teachings of Queen Kunti. There is a chapter where Prabhupada titles the chapter as the most intelligent woman, right? He says that. That's the title of the chapter, right? And let's see if we can look it up. Just give me 1 second if I can pull it up. Teachings of Queen Kunti. Let me share this. So Teachings of Queen Kunti, here's the 3rd chapter. Prabhupada calls it the most intelligent woman. And how do women become most intelligent? So the verse, this is the verse which is being described here. That you yourself, this is Queen Kunti speaking, you yourself descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotional service unto the hearts of the advanced transcendentalists and mental speculators, who are purified by being able to discriminate between matter and spirit. How then can we women know you perfectly? So what makes this woman most intelligent here now? Prabhupada talks about in the purport. Where is that? Not in the purport or in the chapter, I mean. This is not a purport. The purport is different. So if you go read this verse in the Bhagavatam, it says a different purport. There's one thing that I wanted to point out if I can find it. Yes, here. Humility. This humility is very good in devotional service, Prabhupada is telling us. This humility is what makes one intelligent. And another thing Prabhupada is saying, she had a body of a woman, she was a devotee. Therefore, she was not like any ordinary unintelligent woman. Rather, she was the most intelligent, for she recognized Krishna to be the supreme Godhead. So all women who are included in bhakti, they are the most intelligent. And when we come to a devotee platform, then there is no difference between woman and man. Prabhupada would jokingly talk to his disciple Yamuna Mataji a lot. He would say always, Yamuna, women are not intelligent. And she would very humbly say, yes, Prabhupada. And he would laugh, Prabhupada would laugh. But you are very intelligent because you are a devotee. So the verse here is being talked about are common women who are ordinary, unintelligent women who have no knowledge of bhakti, who have no knowledge that Krishna is the supreme. But the moment we take up bhakti, women, men, we become the most intelligent. So that is the essence of this verse. Just wanted to bring this out because this becomes a point of contention and everybody again starts this question that, oh, why is Prabhupada saying, oh, why is Krishna calling us low? And then we just lose everything. We lose our whole bhakti and we then forget that we are here to do devotion and we get lost in this. Many years ago, I was distributing books in Boston and I was showing books. There was this American lady. She was walking around looking at the booths and I showed her a Bhagavad Gita. She didn't even stop to look at me or talk to me. And all she said was, oh, it talks lowly about women. She didn't even give me a chance to explain to her that what it means. So some people can get just so lost and enamored by this concept of why, the question why, and they will lose the whole process of bhakti. Please don't do that. Because this word here, woman, is not for common women. It's for common women, unintelligent women, not for devotees. So, and then we talked about the other aspects of, women, but I'll not go into that. We already talked about it in the earlier class. So that is what is being explored, that we all are Shudras. By taking a bhakti, we can all become Brahmanas. We can come to the level of goodness, to transcendence. By practicing bhakti, it's a no holds barred. Nobody's being stopped from taking up bhakti. That's what Krishna is telling us here. You might come from many backgrounds. So the purpose here is not to say to kind of let's see. So the stress of this verse is the potency of bhakti. Stress is not about women being less intelligent. The whole Bhagavad Gita is about spiritual transcendence, right? So it's about so that's what it is about. It's not about woman, man, or this and that. It's all about the potency of bhakti. That's what this verse is highlighting for us. And the Bhagavad Gita starts by telling us we are not a body, we are a soul. So we have to forget about that, the concept of woman and man. Okay, I hope I have spoken enough. If anybody has any further doubts, we can talk more offline probably if anybody has more doubt. But this is a big, broad point of contention for some people, that wise woman being brought up here.
Prabhu, there is no like doubt about it, whatever you said. But I just would like to add some points to it, that what you explained is really up to the mark, because Prabhupada has mentioned at many, many places that, the women are by nature inclined towards the devotion and devotional service. That comes naturally to them, but men, they have to make an effort to get into it. And then on the highest platform, when we see who is the best of devotees, we see that it's the gopis. They have been given the highest position in devotional services. So there's no question of like being women at any lower place or something like that, and it's really important to see that women, they just like do this devotional service, because they have the qualities which is mentioned in one of the verse in Bhagavad Gita. I don't remember the verse, but they have this that they are like compassionate, they have tolerance, they have like humility, and then 5 or 6 qualities mentioned in women. Something he mentions, and then these qualities, something like that.
It'll come in the 10th chapter. These are feminine qualities, as you said. Yes.
So these are the things that we have to remember when we are seeing in what context this is spoken. So this is what I just wanted to add to it.
Oh, thank you. Yes, women for sure are much better endowed to take up bhakti, for sure, because we as men are more rational, but women are emotional. And because they're emotional, that emotional is vital. The capacity to experience emotion is vital for women, because women by nature are mothers, right? As a father, I can look at my children as from a rational perspective, but only a mother can give unconditional love to the child, because she is emotional. And that emotional nature can have some disadvantage, but then the basis is that it's not about discriminating on the basis of man or woman. It's just that we all are endowed with different capacities, different capabilities. Women have to be mothers. Krishna has given them the capacity to have unconditional love, which is more emotional. And because of that capacity, women are able to take up bhakti also easily. So in one sense, men are lower than women, but so
no. Nobody is lower, Prabhu. Yes, the best point is, now that reminds me, is that as a soul, we are neither male nor female, right? So we have to understand ourselves in that perspective, that we are just given this body to develop ourselves and enhance ourselves in bhakti, but basically as a soul we have no gender, so it's no question of being low or high or something like that.
No, that's true. Yes, the verse that the chapter I was quoting from the teachings of Queen Kunti, there Prabhupada is telling us that her humility makes her higher than Paramhamsas, right? The verse that 1.8.20, that's Tatha Paramhamsanam Muninam Amalatmanam. So what is being told there? Bhakti Yoga Vidhanartham. That lady, she's become most intelligent just because of her humility. She's even gone beyond Paramhansas. Forget about common people. She's beyond Paramhansas also. So the way to look at it, the phrase Papiyoneya means anyone who is having difficulty to grasp spiritual life. That is Papiyoneya. So even if Krishna is mentioning women, it's being talked about those women who don't have that, who are not able to comprehend bhakti, who are not able to comprehend this higher philosophy, spiritual knowledge. And not just women, even men. There are so many men who are Papiyoneya because they have difficulty in figuring out basic concepts. You're not a soul, about rebirth and all that. So even, but the essence of this verse is that the potency of bhakti, that even those people, such persons, vipashritya, they can be liberated. Right? No matter how disqualified I am, I can attain the ultimate destination. I might be unqualified, but I'm not disqualified from the race. That's what the essence is here. Okay,
Yes,
so
Prabhu, very nicely said.
yeah, thank you. So let's just wrap this chapter up. We have 2 more verses. We have 6 more minutes. We'll wrap this chapter up. It's just a continuation. Krishna is just elaborating on the same concept. How much more this is so of the righteous brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. So now earlier talked about those lower people. Now Krishna is saying, just imagine of those people what they will get, who are brahmanas, who are devotees, who are saintly in nature. When people of lower birth, like Shudras and Vaishya, even if they can get ultimate destination, just imagine what is in store for people like you, Arjun. You are a saintly king, right? And you're a devotee also. Arjun's a devotee. So that is what Krishna is saying. That just imagine what is in store for you. If I'm saying that even for the lowest people, there is bhaktis can be liberating. So that's Krishna establishing. And then Prabhupada establishes by saying that, I like this phrase very much, not a happy place for anyone. So this material world is not a happy place for anyone. So this anityam asukham lokam. It's full of miseries, it's temporary and full of miseries, right? It's not easy. It's not easy to be happy as humans. Right? There's a false idea that I have inculcated in my life that by collecting something or the other, I can be happy. But then that never happens. The older we get, the more we realize that it's not going to happen. So this world is not habitable for any sane gentleman, as Prabhupada is saying, and that is coming from Bhakti Saraswati Thakur. Bhakti Saraswati Thakur used to say this quite often, that this world is not habitable for sane gentlemen. So what it means is that for the lowly people, they also can, but just imagine what is in store for the other people who have a higher intellect. That's the essence here. And now comes the most important verse of Bhagavad Gita. This is the essence of the essence. So first 6 chapters, they were about karma yoga, jnana yoga. The karma and dhyana. The last 6 about jnana. The middle 6 about bhakti. On the middle 6, 9th being the middlemost chapter. Out of that 9th, this last verse is the most important. What does Krishna want us to do? Yes, bhakti is easy, bhakti is sublime, everything. But what do you want us to do, Krishna? Krishna is telling that us. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namashkuru mam evashyasi yuktavaivam atmanam mad parayanaha. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me. Worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. The word me has been used how many times? 1, my, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mata, man, mama, that word has been used 6 times. Right? This is the center of all verses. This entire Mahabharata, 100,000, 110,000 verses were written for this verse. So what is the result of the most confidential knowledge? What is supposed to happen at the end of this whole talk? Personal association of Krishna. How to get it? Through this practice. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namashkuru mam ivashyasi yuktevam atmana mat parayanaha. Even after being so clear, Mayavadis senselessly say that no, it's not Krishna whom you have to pay your obeisances. There is a cosmic amorphous consciousness. You have to pay obeisances to that. That is why Prabhupada brings out this concept here. Deha dehi vibhedoyam neshware vidyate kvachit. This means that there is no difference in Krishna, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because the commentators do not know this science of Krishna, they hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind or from his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of the science of Krishna, some men make profit out of misleading people. Right? So, Krishna's body is non-different from him. You cannot separate his body out from him. So, Mayavadis do this. Prabhupada has quoted this often. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, the first president of India, he said this in the translation to this verse in his Bhagavad Gita version. He says, it's not Krishna whom you have to pay obeisances. It's the cosmic consciousness behind him or in him that you have to pay your obeisances. So that's very foolish. And Prabhupada is making to divide his personality, his body, his mind. So that is the first, paragraph is the purport to this verse. And then Prabhupada, as usual, he gives a summary of the 9th chapter in the second two verses. Sorry, in the second two paragraphs. So in these two, he's giving a summary of that. And in the end, the last two paragraphs, Krishna gives a summary of the last two verses, the 7th and 8th. Right? So the 7th and 8th have explained pure devotional service to the Lord that is free from speculative knowledge, mystic yoga, and fruitive activities. Right? And then in the last verse, he gives the summary of the 9th chapter. So what is the summary of the 9th chapter? The devotee in the beginning may sometimes fall from the standard, but still he should be considered superior to all other philosophers and yogis. So, and it's one who always engages in Krishna consciousness should be understood to be perfectly saintly person. His accidental non-devotional activities will diminish, and soon he will be situated without any doubt in complete perfection. Right? The pure devotee has no actual chance to fall down because the Supreme Godhead personally takes care of his pure devotees. Therefore, the intelligent person should take directly to the process of Krishna consciousness and happily live in this material world. He will eventually receive the supreme award of Krishna, personal association of Krishna. In beginning, as a neophyte, I have a chance to fall down, but then I still can recuperate, come back to perfection. For a pure devotee, there is no chance to fall down. Pure devotees like Prabhupada, they don't fall down. Okay, thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the most confidential knowledge. Okay, that was it. That was the whole chapter there. We are at 8:31, so we'll wrap up. We'll start the 10th chapter next week. If you have any questions left on from here, please, as I always say, please text me, call me, email me. More than happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.